What's good, everyone? Today I have another trade review for you where I'm going to be going over the trades I took from last week, which was April 7th to 11th. We had a pretty eventful week last week, as I'm pretty sure you've all seen on the charts. So without wasting any more time, let's get straight into it. Okay, so here on gold for the first trade of the week. So if you've watched my 20 review video, you'll know I'm no longer trading Mondays. I've also had a think about it, weighed up the pros and cons. I'm also not going to be trading before 3 p.m. New York time or 8 p.m. my time. So as you can see, it's currently 2:23. I'm recording this at 7:30 in the morning just to get this out early. So yeah. And then my two new parameters for this week. These actually didn't come into play until I believe Wednesday was when I implemented these. So the trades Thursday onwards, I didn't actually take any from Thursday, but Thursday or Friday. However, that's just going to be the new format. So I'll start on DXY, although it isn't relevant. It's always good to get some sort of, you can use this yourself. If you remember in one of my videos, I said, I'm assuming, I think it's daily bias, price starts to fill the gaps. Watch this gap. We did come up. We filled, I believe, a consequent encroachment or just above, and then price did eventually move off it. I was this did hamper me. I didn't have the greatest week. I don't look week by week. However, as I've said before, for the purpose of these videos, I kind of have to a little bit, but not long-term wise. I look at them 20s, as you know. So we have also started a new 20. I was looking for us to fill this, which we didn't end up doing. It did kind of cost me. However, I'm kind of getting carried away now. We was moving lower, displays down below here. I was looking for us to fill this and then continue lower, taking this low. So my bias on here was actually bullish. We'll jump over to gold right here. Gold, I've been looking to buy for a while. If we come up to the daily, we've made a nice pullback. We just haven't really come into a nice zone yet. However, if we look at what Monday did, we respected this daily fair value gap very, very cleanly. Dropped down to the 4. We had this liquidity grab right here, which we didn't make any fair value gaps apart from this one right here. However, we were displacing. We had this 4 hour here, but price wasn't really carrying, especially in this. We made a big displacement candle through. In that time, we inverted this 1 hour fair value gap right here, came into it over Asia, rejected it, moved higher. So I was thinking, okay, even though we are in this 4 hour, we seem to be trading for it no problem. Creating bullish order flow, respecting this fair value gap right here, even though we did close quite deep into it. We came into here, moved higher. Okay, this all looks good to me. I dropped down to the 5 minute. We had this 5 minute shift right here. We then made this higher, made a pullback, closed through that. So this was my high, that's where my stop loss was, which will come down to the 1 minute quickly. We had this shift here. We then had this shift. Obviously, as this was before 3, it's not a factor anymore, so it'll be the last time I ever have to explain this, but I wait for 2 shifts. Either way, no matter, I don't even think I could have entered here because stop loss would have been too low. However, too far away, I mean, pip wise, or whatever number this is, I go to 1,000. So yeah, as you can see, I did get stopped out. However, we did eventually move higher. I just got in at the wrong time. Wednesday probably would have been a pretty good area to buy, and then price moved higher. So that was the first one of the week. Pretty disappointing. I just got in too early, although all the signs look good. We had a fair value gap. We were displacing through, or we displaced through this 1 hour fair value gap. We weren't really respecting the 4 hour, although we did fill it and then move lower. Failed to take this low and then move higher. I was actually looking for a position here, although we didn't really have, I didn't have anywhere safe to put my stop loss in this area, so there was nothing for me to take. Okay, so now on DXY to review the second trade I took. I took this on Wednesday the 9th. This trade, to be honest, was a bit disappointing on my behalf. It was a bit of a grey area whether it followed my rules or not, so maybe that could be an issue with my rules. However, I didn't have that box ticked on my Notion chart, so this is definitely a trade I shouldn't take, and there's a lesson to be learned here. Obviously, I'm being 100% transparent. It could be very easy for me to say I didn't take this or lie about what I took, especially as I don't show the whatever they're called, the MT5 pictures, because I don't really care if you believe me or not. Well, I'm literally showing you 4 losing trades in a row over 2 weeks. So anyways, again, my analysis on here, I was looking for us to fill this. I would say I definitely got too kind of caught up with trying to be right, I would say, instead of just kind of flowing with the markets, which since the beginning of the year I've been very good at. This is kind of the first time this issue has happened. So hopefully we don't start making a habit of that and we can just move on. So I've just dropped down to the 4-hour chart. Price did make another new day opening gap right up here. So I was looking, okay, we're likely to come up into there. Then we could potentially come up into here, sweep this high, fill this, and then move lower. Although as you're probably looking on the 4-hour, there is absolutely nowhere to buy from. We are not in a point, this could be a point B, but we are not in any sort of point A. So I've got draws on liquidity, but nothing to tell me we're going to even go up there yet. Because obviously, we could still go up to it and fill this, because we haven't yet, from the day I'm recording this, Monday 14th. However, we need a reason to believe that. I was kind of using this grab here as something. This was Asian low, however, that's not enough when you look at how much we've displaced lower. I should have at least waited for a shift higher like this. If we shift above this high here, although I couldn't have took a position from here to here, my higher time frame bias of being the high up here or these highs would have been valid to take. So yeah, I used that. I was just kind of stuck in my analysis, probably a bit of ego, trying to want to be right. And there you go. So I'll come over into GU now. I'll come up to the daily chart. So obviously, as I was bullish there, I'm bearish on GU. I did take a short. So we came up into this bearish fair value gap. Very, very nice. I believe we was in there at the time. Yeah, we was. So we had that. We also had this 4-hour fair value gap, which if I just draw a fib over, you can see we respected the consequent encroachment of that really, really nicely. With this candle, this hadn't formed yet, this high right here. And then 15, I don't really use a 15, but we did have this fair value gap. So as far as this, it did look good. However, DXY didn't align. GU looks pretty good to go down. However, DXY does not look great to go up. A shift first to kind of add confirmation to like grab I showed earlier in the 1-hour would have been ideal, just as it is against the current trend of the market. If we was going upwards, if for example that was flipped and we swept a higher, by all means I'm happy to start looking bearish DXY, bullish GU for example. However, we were pushing down for days very aggressively. I definitely should have asked for more from the market to convince me to enter. So I go down into the 1-hour right now. As you can see, we had market structure. We had this market structure shift with this candle here. We kind of had this sloppy break of structure here with this, because this candle is, if we look, just higher than this one. And then we broke here, so I entered. And as you can see, this trade was actually really unlucky. However, it's kind of a good thing I didn't get away with it. So as you can see, we was in some consolidation. Then London opened, wicked me out, and then price did actually go down to my take profit right down here. So again, this could be two things. Frankfurt's, we do get grabbed, like swept out quite a lot. This ended up being a really clean grab, coming into this 1-hour fair value gap right up here, and then moving lower, sweeping Asia as well. And then price moved down. DXY did go up to that original gap, I believe. If I show you that, this one up here. Yeah, we did come up into that before moving lower. So yeah, it's quite a short one this week, as in I didn't take many trades. Friday and Thursday, to be honest, again, I was still kind of wrong on my bias a little bit. Either way, the market was a bit too quick. I don't think I could have had any positions anyway. I did have a little look and sort of I could have took something. However, that wasn't really the case. So yeah, there is quite a lot to take away from this. And yeah, these are definitely the kind of moments you have to really look back and see what are you doing wrong and how can you fix it going into the next week. So I've realised what that issue was. As I said, I definitely got caught up too much. I got married to my bias, so to speak, where I need to be very dynamic. That hasn't been an issue, but it creeped up here, so I'm going to work I've put a new system in place. I'm reviewing DXY every day to potentially mitigate that problem. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Obviously, I would have liked to have been showing you 5 wins or 4 wins even. However, that wasn't the case. We'll see what happens this week. See you later.